Hello, and welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast. This is episode 7. I am your host, Will Bean. I'm here with my one co-host, Little Steve. We are brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Mr. Sam Williams and myself, actually, right now. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Radio. 5-star review if you'd be so kind. Steve, what are you drinking?
Hey, so we went to Sigmeister Saturday. Do you remember?
I do.
You do. Awesome. Anyway, I brought back this Sundial Series Azuria from Sigmeister. One of my favorites again. This is... Oh, goodness. What is this? This is a sour with prickly pear, lime, and rose, which
I
is
like that one.
Kind of a weird ingredient, but it's pretty great. Yeah, we had it Saturday, so I bought the cans, brought it back. So I'll have some tonight.
Not too bad. And
most of these have lactose in it, but this one doesn't.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, most of the Sundial do.
A little bit. Yeah.
Sucks a lot of it.
I have so I'm a little behind the scenes. I'm doing some producing as well. So that was a little, for some reason the music kept playing while I was doing my intro, and I don't know if that was necessarily my mistake.
I bet it was.
It is what it is, and yeah, it absolutely was. So Sam made it, pretty idiot-proof, but apparently not. There's multiple steps you click as you go, and for some reason
brand new
my
idiot
mouse
over
wasn't
there.
clicking. Yeah, brand new idiot. Either my mouse wasn't clicking or it wasn't reacting in time, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna, kind of let it go. But Sam is, he's the Obi-Wan, and I am, the Padawan. So we will learn. But
you're the Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. Courtesy of another podcasting hero, Mr. Shorts Guy, Cape May. They're on the way to Cape May cotton candy. So I will see how this is. I didn't actually try this one, so this is the first. But
that one didn't. I had that one, right?
I don't think you could,
have lactose?
Right? Isn't this the one that had?
I don't remember if it has lactose or not.
I don't malt recall. Beverage with artificial flavors.
Of course there is.
It does not say on here if it does or doesn't.
I guess I could check.
This one doesn't say. Yeah, you have to check. But so just a good beer. So let's try it out. And we obviously had a good time for Steve's brother's birthday, 40th. So happy birthday, Danielson.
Almost his birthday. It's on Wednesday. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Wednesday. Very cool.
And Bort, the biggest Seattle Kraken fan there is.
He is. I mean, you're talking about a monster Seattle fan. And speaking of Seattle,
lifetime fan.
Yep. But let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. Seattle home opener was awesome on Saturday. I don't know if you saw it, Steve, but
I saw highlights of it.
It was an all-day party. They started from I think 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. all the way to puck drop. They started with, Seattle started with 5 road games to start the year. So this was, not a long time coming, but for fans, wanting to see their first game, 5 games is probably an eternity. It was against their heated rival, the Vancouver Canucks. So that'll be a very good rivalry come, when Seattle's actually good. Yeah, I mean, the music's good and everything about the team is fun to watch and just
the arena's awesome.
Yeah, they have a green shade of ice a little bit.
Yeah. Well, not only that, though, their climate conscious efforts for energy and everything that's going through the arena is very cool.
Oh, that tastes like cotton candy. Okay.
I can't find it on here, by the way. And I have 50 Cape Mays I checked into, and I don't feel like... What's the name of it?
It's on the way
later,
to Cape May cotton candy.
All right.
Number 007. So, but yeah, just Seattle in general. I am excited about them and their prospects as a franchise. Well, no, I mean I'm in that regard because I do think they will be a very successful franchise, and they also retired the number 32 after 32,000 season tickets were sold. So they kind of did. That's the whole Seattle thing, right? They did the 12th man with
the 32nd team.
Yeah, retiring the number 12 for the Seahawks for the 12th man, and it's just a Seattle thing to do. But Yeah, they did lose to Vancouver in their opener, and I believe if I had my scheduling right, they are. What is their record? Damn it! I just had it up and I totally just screwed it
Oh,
all
I
over.
almost inhaled that.
Oh, almost inhaled. That's fun.
Almost.
Seattle is 1-4-1. They do have the one victory. They have the one overtime loss, 3 points total. So not great to start the season, but
Oh, kind of what we
we'll see how they
expected.
go. Yeah, kind of what we expected.
Part of us wanted to be like
Um,
maybe Vegas, but in reality, we look
yeah,
at the roster,
no,
and this is kind of what
no.
they
I
are.
mean, yeah, I mean, people that thought that was going to happen. I mean, this was so much. It was such a totally different draft from the Vegas one to this one, and teams were fleeced and they didn't think about it. And now they see this. Saw what happened in Vegas. They're like, we're not going to do it again. Just take our, take our one of our players, and then I'm not going to give them another pick. And even teams that lost players that they wanted, such as the Washington Capitals with Vitek Vanacek, they got him back for a second round pick. So essentially, they just gave up a second round pick in that draft. So
Yeah.
teams are doing the smart thing and going that way. On the other side of the coin, there are 4 teams left undefeated in the early season. They are, and each one in each conference too. Edmonton Oilers out in the Pacific, the St. Louis Blues in the Central, the Florida Panthers in the Atlantic, and the Carolina Hurricanes in the Metropolitan. You know that Carolina is the only team not in first place in their divisions with an
Guys, I
undefeated
haven't played
record.
enough games.
Yeah. Do you know who is
I
the
did
first
know
place
that.
team?
I saw it. In that, I do. Will I say it? No.
It's these guys right here, the New York Rangers,
Yeah, that
with at
that
4-1
of course we
record.
always goes on tangents. That Metro once again is crazy.
Yeah.
There's not a single losing record in that division.
No.
None.
Uh, so we'll just go quickly. So Rangers are 4-1. Carolina's 4-0. Pens are 3-2. Washington's 3-2.
3-0 and 2.
Islanders are 3-2 yeah, 3-0-2. Sorry. Islanders are 3-2-1. Devils are 3-1. Blue Jackets are 3-2, and then Philly is 2-1-1. So
Yeah.
each team. I mean, the last place team, Philly, technically they have 5 points. They would be 4th in the Pacific because the Pacific is just garbage. But
Yeah, it sure is.
yeah. So here's my question to you, Steve, and obviously Schwimm's not here, so I'm a schmuck. But
Mitch did to know.
what team is the best out of the Oilers, Blues, Panthers, and Canes?
So which one is for real, I guess?
Yeah, well, I guess not. I mean, I think 3 of the 4 are for real. Well, even really the Oilers are for real in that they'll make the playoffs, but I wouldn't say
Yes.
necessarily a contender. But
Contenders.
I mean,
2 of them.
yeah,
Florida
Panthers,
and
Canes.
Carolina. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Florida's very good. So let's not. I mean, very good.
I think they're the best.
It's strange because you still don't want to. I mean, maybe people think differently than I do, but I can't hear the Florida Panthers and think that like this is a franchise that could contend for the Stanley Cup. I still see this just bottom dwelling,
Yeah.
low attendance franchise that their own fan base doesn't even really care about. But these guys are good and skilled and pretty complete from front to back. They're kind of a poor man's Lightning from the last 2 seasons. Maybe not as much top end skill, but as far as no holes in that lineup, there are no holes in that lineup. And now that Bobrovsky is playing back to almost his Vezina years caliber,
He's been really good.
that's obviously huge for Florida.
No, I mean he's been really good for them. Their goaltending in general, they're
Carolina's still
obviously
great.
5-0 and yeah. They have a +13 differential. That's tops in the league. 22 goals for, 9 against. Obviously the win streak's 5 because they only have 5 games. But they have the talent, the upper echelon talent. Barkov, Huberdeau, Sam Bennett's been really good. Reinhardt has been really good for them. I think I saw a stat that, and maybe did I write that down? What was the stat for Reinhardt? Sorry, I know I had it, and then I just lost what I had. Something about Reinhardt since. Oh no, sorry, Bennett. Sam Bennett has 9 goals and 9 assists in his first 13 games with the Panthers. So what does that say about the Calgary Flames organization? Just you didn't want to use the guy in an offensive role.
Yeah, I mean
Craziness.
I don't know. Sometimes you just see this change of scenery and these guys,
Yeah,
ended up, but with like high end or skill that you thought these players were going to be, based on where they were drafted and so on. Usually, it is what you see is what you get. But
yeah,
no, after coming over, it's kind of like the perfect situation for him. I know he was rumored to a bunch of teams. I would have liked him in Pittsburgh. He was rumored there for a long
yeah.
time. Would he be as good on Pittsburgh? Who knows? But whatever. I mean, he found his spot down there in Florida, and he's at this point a bargain.
I don't know. I mean, you look at him in Pittsburgh, especially with no centers. Evan Rodriguez is your
Yeah.
number one center right now. I think he'd
Uh
look
huh.
pretty good on that first line with with
Yeah.
your top players. So,
But no Carter.
yeah, I
If they get
mean,
Bennett, they don't get Carter. And Carter's been good, even though he's out now. But would Bennett be better than Carter? I mean, obviously he's younger, but I don't know. I like what I've seen in
would
Carter. But yeah, I would also
yeah,
like
no
Sam Bennett.
Carter before the injury. Yeah, I mean Carter was
Well, he's
doing
in
really
COVID. He's
well.
not even hurt. He's in COVID
Oh well,
protocol.
that's true. Sorry. Yeah, it's kind of screwed my fantasy team as well. I have my top
Mm-hmm.
center. No one really cares about our fantasy teams, but my top center is Connor McDavid, and then I have Clayton Keller is my next best guy, and then Evan Rodriguez after that. So it goes
You
downhill
picked him up?
pretty fast.
Wow, look at
Yeah,
that.
I did.
He did well too.
Well,
I
I
think he
needed
had a
someone. He's the
goal.
only one out there. I mean, it would
Yeah.
Schwim and his bullshit rules. It just
I
keeps
still have
the talent. There's no
Sean
talent.
Monahan. That's how good my team is. Guy's
Yeah, I think I
awful.
spanked you week 1,
Speaking
so
of
that was
terrible
good.
Calgary, yeah, he did. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got crushed again in week 2.
yeah. Finally,
I'm in
the mighty
uncharted
have the mighty
waters.
fallen. We'll
Yeah.
see. Steve is a very hockey savant for fantasy, and
Yeah,
you're
you had
talking to
4
another
teams in the
guy.
damn league, and now I get
Yep.
smoked.
And you're talking to a guy that used to write fantasy hockey articles, and I'm pretty sure that year that I wrote the fantasy hockey articles, I was the worst team in the league. Yep,
Yeah,
makes sense.
you're in the bottom, that's for sure.
Add this player. Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Oh, man.
Anyways, yeah, great times. Yeah, it's the NHL, NHL.com for you. It was called the Weekly Wire. It was a great read. You can actually go back and read some of the stuff. I think I had
They're
Brian
still
Boyle as one
there.
of my top pickups that week.
Who
Yeah,
you didn't pick up
so
in our league.
yeah, who I didn't pick up in our league. So speaking of hot starts, Lucas Raymond stepping up big for Detroit, recorded the hat trick in only his 6th game. He's the second teen to net a hat trick for Detroit, Steve Yzerman being the first, and he's the third teen overall in Detroit history to net 4 points, and that would be also Stevie Y and some other guy named Gordie Howe.
That guy.
He leads all rooks with 7 points in 6 games. Right behind him is you have Anton Lundell, Moritz Seider, and O'Connor from the Pittsburgh Penguins
Mm-hmm.
with 5 points each, tied for second. And then notable names, you have Bowen Byram with 4, Jamie Drysdale and Michael Bunting with 3, and then Zegras and Caulfield with 1 point each.
Wow.
So obviously,
Yeah,
I'd take Zegras, I'd
Montreal.
take Caulfield.
Oof.
A lot of these guys, yeah, I know they're real bad. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Lucas Raymond, everyone was talking about in the draft that after Laugh, the guy to get, was Lafreniere. I mean, was Lucas Raymond. He was talked about as that top second overall prospect, and he kind of slid because he had a really bad year in I think it was the SHL. But that's kind of what happens. The uber talented players sometimes they have a little misstep and their stock falls for one reason or another, and they're really just that talented. And Lucas Raymond looks to be that kind of player for them, and they have quite the cornerstones if Raymond turns out to be this good. And Moritz Seider's been playing 22
Yeah.
minutes a night, and he's been awesome. He's
Mm-hmm.
the best defenseman
He's looked
already,
fantastic.
and
Yeah.
he's a beast too. They got some good pieces for Detroit, and it's it sucks to see for someone who hated Detroit for so long with they're continually winning, but yeah, it's gonna be a good team eventually, but not anytime soon.
Not just yet.
Yeah, not just yet. I was listening to 31 Thoughts, right? And Jeff Merrick talks about how the Islanders love to offer all of their picks for ex-players. And obviously, there's the story from, I think it was the Ryan Murray draft. It was
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2008, 2007, something like that. But Ryan Murray, the Islanders really wanted him. So at the time, Garth Snow, I guess, offered up his entire draft, all 7 rounds of picks, to Columbus Blue Jackets for the right to draft Ryan Murray, and they said no. And well, I'm sure Columbus wishes they had did that now, but
Probably should have said yes.
yeah, probably should have said yes. Yep. Yeah, for future NHL GMs, if you get that offer, even if for one pick, you should probably take it because I'm guaranteed there's at least one lottery ticket in there that, I mean, maybe not Connor McDavid draft, but I'm going to assume there's at least one lottery ticket in there that you can cash in on. But anyway, so he was talking about that, and then he said that Jeff Marek said that Mike Milbury once offered St. Louis all of his picks in the 2006 NHL draft, which, do you know who St. Louis took at number 1 overall? Defenseman.
Johnson?
Eric Johnson, who eventually would go to Colorado. But yeah, apparently the Islanders also wanted Eric Johnson so badly they were going to give up their entire draft.
Man, I wish I wish both of them happened.
Yeah, it would have been fantastic. But yeah, so Islanders, and that's it's funny that a team is that intense and set on certain player that they'd be
on one guy
draft,
and like those two guys,
their entire capital. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they were the number 1 picks, but come on, they weren't hyped.
Well, was Ryan
really?
Murray?
They were just
Ryan Murray was the number 1 overall. It was.
I don't think so. Wasn't he 2?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the Yakupov year?
Oh, it was that bad, right? Yeah, man. We keep just. Yeah. Right. Yeah. 2012. Nhl Yakupov first overall. Ugh. Let's see this round. I think we've done this before, but Yakupov 1,
bad draft.
Ryan Murray 2, Alex Galchenyuk 3, Griffin Reinhart 4, Morgan Riley 5. Finally at 5, okay. Morgan Riley is the best player. Hampus Lindholm 6, Dumba 7, Jacob Trouba was at 9, Slater Cuckoo for Tampa at 10.
Not good. Derek Pouliot, not good.
At 11. Yeah. Philip Forsberg at 11 is probably your best player out of the top 10. Zemgus Jurgensons, you have Thomas Hertl. Oh, Vasilevsky at 19 would have been the best player in the draft.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Brady Shea at 28 for the Rangers. Stefan Matteau for the Devils. I remember that draft because all the Devils fans were like, "Yeah, we got Matteau. Screw you. You took your player."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
It was specifically like a spite draft pick that was just so dumb.
It was. And it failed tremendously, and it was absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. It's a bad year.
I'm looking through the names.
Yikes.
Even the second round, there's no one. I'm third round, Korpisalo, Gostisbehere at 78. Matt Murray, Pittsburgh Penguins, 83rd overall.
Yeah, he won 2 cups, so that's fine, I guess. Now, not so much,
Parayko,
but
then Anderson. Yeah, no. Back then it was a good pick, and when he was playing for you, it was a good pick. Slavin at 120, that's a very good pick.
Yeah.
Connor Hellebuck at 130. Oh, I forgot Hellebuck and Vasi were the same draft.
Yeah.
That's, for goaltending, you can't get much better than that.
You get the number 1 and number 2, however way you want to order it, in the same draft. I said one of such a horrible draft.
Yeah.
Well, Korpisalo is good, but we're talking like the number 1 and number 2 goaltenders in the entire league were in the same year.
Yep.
Vasilevsky's draft position was good, but it's just crazy that was such a horrible draft year, but you have the 2 current best goalies in the league that were drafted in that year.
Yeah. And like I told you guys before, and I think we laughed about this on the podcast, that Nhl Yakupov, the reason that he was taken by Edmonton Oilers was because he played video games with his son, the owner's son.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was the deal breaker, or deal maker, I should say.
that's where you really, make sure you go in and get the
video games with the kids. The all you young aspiring hockey players, just make sure you play video games with the owners and coaches' kids. Right, Melvin? Yeah, you don't care.
We continually talk about this player, and unfortunately, the situation still remains. But Jack Eichel, he will be apparently, according to Elliot Friedman, he's going to be filing a grievance soon with the NHL and NHLPA. Friedman actually gave it like a 2-week timetable. He wants to force a move, and I don't blame him. It continually is. It's delaying the inevitable of him being gone from the team, and they just seem to have a stalemate. But one of the teams that I saw that I haven't heard before was the St. Louis Blues as serious contenders, of a team that would come in with a big offer and maybe
Detroit also
pry him away.
Detroit, Colorado. Colorado. how the heck could
Yeah,
Colorado?
Colorado and Vegas.
Like he's
Yeah.
won. It's just strange to me.
Yeah, so Colorado and
Colorado.
Vegas, I think the two things that I heard from there was that, like I said last week, Buffalo will not take back Eichel's salary, and that's one of the main stepping
Yeah.
points. Is that they want him to keep salary, and they'll give him another draft pick instead. But Buffalo just doesn't want to do that. So, I mean, it's kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face. But I mean, is what it is. And the ones that also suck, obviously, the fans, it really sucks for not seeing a top 5, top 10 player in the NHL play. But Team USA, and we keep going over this, they are really getting screwed by the stalemate, and just the fact that he's not
Yeah.
going to be able to play for Team USA when looking at what we had for rosters maybe a year ago, and I don't remember going over what Team USA could be like. Having Matthews and Eichel as your 1-2 is not. It's not Crosby and it's not McDavid, but it's pretty damn close. And
Yeah.
that's probably the second best center duo of any
In the world,
country
yeah, out of all
can
those
scout
other
there.
teams. Yeah, it's
But
granted. I mean, I want to see this kid play again, and
yeah,
this situation needs to be resolved. It's such a distraction for any hockey fan because just we're all over it at this point, and you have you have arguments on both ends. Eichel's a spoiled whatever, and he deserved his captaincy stripped and whatever else, and he's not really a leader. Maybe there's some truth behind that, but he's still
yeah,
a amazing player, and the league needs a young, elite player like that playing.
yeah.
Um, so this crap just needs to end. It's annoying. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I want him to get healthy. I want him to get into whatever lineup he's going to get into, and just move on.
Yep.
But it's the health thing.
Uh,
Like, get healthy,
yeah.
please.
Craig Best on Facebook Live asked about any word on Jack Hughes. I had not heard anything. I know that I think I saw maybe he was
Separated shoulder,
skating.
no?
Yeah.
2 months,
But
did I hear?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know, like I said, I know he can skate. And just kind of skate around, but he's going to be out for, I think I saw something about 2 months too. And that sucks. Obviously, he's,
Yeah.
one of the breakout guys. I thought, he would go off this year, and especially as a, Ranger fan, that's not exactly what I want to see, but it's good to see, players like him taking steps and making the game fun, because he's exciting to watch. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
watch a hockey game with Jack Hughes and be like, oh, this sucks. I mean, he's
That
tremendous with
overtime
the
goal.
puck. It's
That overtime
ridiculous.
goal was something else, and his celebration was something that I
Yeah.
hope one day I can do in my life because it was incredible.
Throwing the stick in the stands,
Yeah, just score. Amazing.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, we should find some fans and just throw our sticks. Actually, they have the mesh all over the place. We won't be able to do
I
that
mean, we could
this
just throw it to nobody. That's probably what I'll do because I
year.
want my stick back.
Throw it to our teammates.
I can't afford to lose the
Someone will break
stick.
it. But he will not require surgery. But I know he did begin physical therapy, so it's good in that he didn't have to have surgery. But sucks for the Devils fans.
Mm.
And there's obviously talk about him and Adam Fox being up for salary, contract upping again. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun time watching New York and New Jersey hockey. What do they do without Hughes for offense? I mean, there's no. It's just got to come from a sum of all parts, because
Yeah.
there's not one person that can
They
take
don't
over that
have
load.
they don't have a replacement for him at all.
Yeah.
They have the young guys, Mercer, right? Mercer and
Yep. Dawson
um,
Mercer. Uh,
Holtz. Holtz is in the lineup as well.
Yeah, Holtz. Sorry, thank you. I was thinking of Lindell from Florida. But
They're
Holtz.
still developing. You can't expect them to be Jack Hughes.
Yep.
I don't know if they'll ever be anywhere close to the caliber of Jack Hughes' skill, but they're good players. And this is a season, and Devil fans really need to temper their expectations here. This is a season for development. You have a lot of young, good players that you just need to see develop. A playoff push, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe if they catch the string of good, if they can gel and get some stuff together, can they push for a playoff spot? I mean, I don't want to rule out anything because this league is, for the most part, I mean, there's obviously some outliers and some really, really bad teams, but you never know. This division is very good. We have to remember that still from top to bottom. And, people have the Devils as the bottom, and the Devils are still good. So you have a very, very competitive division. It's going to be very, very hard for teams to make the playoffs in that division again. There's
Yep.
going to be some good teams not making it once again. And, I don't know. It's exciting times for the Devils. You guys got a collection of very good, skilled young players, and this is a time for their development. And enjoy watching them. Jack Hughes. Hopefully, he comes back sooner rather than later, because obviously everybody just wants to see him play. And of course, you want these young guys to mesh with him as well, because he's the center for that franchise at this point. So yeah, I mean, just take it as it is. Hopefully, Hughes will be back, but just enjoy what you have right now. In a couple of years, I think you'll start to become like a perennial contender for the playoffs, not for the cup yet, but you got to draw in some more pieces there. But you got to have an exciting young team. So
Yeah, no, they're only getting better, and like I
hmm
said, it's for this coming from a Ranger fan. They have pieces, and they need to get their goalie going. He actually just got his first vaccine
good.
this past week, I think, and he'll be back, I think, for the game in Winnipeg, the first Canadian game they're going to have. But they have a goaltender that hopefully is exciting and grows with them, and they have some defensemen coming up that look pretty good, and obviously the forwards, just
hmm
a lot of talent, just like the Rangers. I mean, it's the Rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the playoffs, but I do think they should be right on that bubble. Um, but yeah, uh, it's just exciting hockey. So uh, going back to my little list, the Rangers. Coming back to it, actually, they do want a top prospect for Kravtsov. This, according to Chris Jury, Jeff Merrick had spoken with him about it. Well, actually, not him, but other GMs. Apparently, there's legit interest, though, including LA Kings, Montreal Canadiens, Calgary Flames, and the Ottawa Senators. Um, you know, I guess I'd take someone like Brandstrom for Kravtsov. Like one for one. I know that Brandstrom kind of out there. Not getting playing time with Ottawa. There's a bunch of players that I would think, maybe LA if there's one of their centers that we could make a deal with. But yeah, I mean, I think that Jury's going to hold pat on this, and I think that's the right move. He's obviously a good asset. He's shown in the NHL for a limited amount of games that he can, score at least. So, I mean, I would just wait on it.
Yeah, I mean, I knock on wood. Hopefully, won't be in a situation like this where you just you have a guy that just wants out, and then he just isn't playing at all, and you're just waiting for something to happen. I can
Yeah,
see how much of a pain you kind of just want it resolved, and it's like, all right, just give me something. But yeah, I mean, I guess the best approach is to get the price that you should get the return that you should get, and don't just take anything just for the sake of resolving the situation, because you could lose pretty mightily in that. But
yeah,
it does stink, the fact that
and
he's just like he's not playing at all. So I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of annoying as a fan, I
especially
can see.
when the Rangers could have used them. They had injuries to
hmm
Kako, Strome. They've had a lot of guys out on the shelf. He could have been playing, and I think even
He absolutely
uh,
would be in the lineup right now. If he didn't do this,
absolutely,
he would be in the lineup right now,
yeah.
playing
And I
regularly.
think our coach,
I don't know about
yeah,
minutes, but
our coach even called him up and asked him to come back over, and I think he's kind of set that this is now what he wants to do. He just wants to restart, and now you're going to be waiting. You're going to be sitting in Russia,
yeah.
kind of just twiddling thumbs while you're looking to get a move. So there's that ongoing story. Uh, talk about having a rough start. Chicago Blackhawks.
Ugh,
Their coach Colliton, he's on
yuck.
borrowed time. They haven't had a lead in the first 6 games, which is an NHL record. They have not led
Wow.
once in 6 games. Um, so that's terrible. There's rumors already of Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves being shopped. They both have 2 years and $10.5 million left on their deals and no movement clauses. Um,
Oh, this
but
is what I
yeah,
saw.
What'd you say?
Hawks call timeout. Colleton hands the dry erase to the players. They appear to
Yes.
draw something up and hand it back. That's interesting. So that actually happened. He
Yep.
handed the players, looks like Kubalik, the dry erase board. The players drew up something for them to
Uh,
do, and then handed it back to the coach. I mean, this. I really thought that this was going to be a better team, and I
yeah,
don't
they're bad.
know exactly what is the problem. Coaching, I guess, right?
No, I mean, how many?
I don't think he's a bad
How many
coach, but
times?
is his
No,
voice lost? Is his voice completely lost in that locker room? If that's the
I don't
case,
know.
then it might not be because he's a bad coach. It might just be because he lost the locker room. And if that's the case, then you're obviously seeing the result on the ice. I mean, they're not that good. Okay, so they're not that good of a
No.
team still, but I think they're better than they were last year. Especially in
Yeah.
goal and with goaltending, I don't think they lost anything with Duncan Keith unless he's more of a leader than we know. They got Jonathan Taves back, who is, he was the proclaimed by the entire NBC broadcasting crew to be like the captain of all captains, but
Yeah, Captain Canada,
I
right?
would debate that. But yeah, the Captain Canada who never captained Canada. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is necessarily. What their number one issue is. Like, where do you fix this? Unless there's a coaching change.
Yeah, I mean,
That's it. I
it
mean,
is a
I don't know. You can't dump the whole team. You can't rebuild the whole team. I mean, that's the whole thing about with Kane and Taves. You're not going to waste the later part of where they're still very good players of their career rebuilding, so they can be competitive by the time those guys are 40. I mean, that's not ideal.
no. Like I said, they have 2 years left. I'm sure that someone would take. I mean, someone would definitely take Patrick Kane because
Oh yeah,
the
but
offense
yeah,
is there.
I guess they could leave. Yes, but if they let
Yeah.
them, I mean, obviously they would trade them, but those are two. I mean, I assume as a Chicago fan, you want Taves and Kane to be
Yeah.
Blackhawks for their whole
For life.
careers. But then, you have some of the fan base who are just like, at this point, just trade them for pieces that are going to make them better faster, which isn't necessarily the
Yeah.
wrong decision. But yeah, I mean, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to see Letang, Malkin, and Crosby traded for that. I want to see them win another cup in Pittsburgh and retire as Penguins. That's my ideal thought process. But as a Penguin fan, we have Penguin fans also on message boards saying the same thing, and analysts saying the same thing. Is that okay? Maybe you can trade these guys and get assets, and instead of having to do a full-on rebuild once these guys are 40, you can kind of slowly make this transition into being competitive while they're retiring. But I don't know. I agree with the Rutherford standpoint, even though he's not there anymore,
Yep.
that he wants these guys to win now, when they can, and don't waste the last half of their careers when they're still quality players. But like I said, I mean, I think at this point he's got to be the coach in the hottest seat in the league right now because
Easily.
they've been bad for a while under him, and now this start to the season is very disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, Stan Bowman also has to face a little criticism. GM. Obviously, I know he brought him
Yeah,
to pieces, but this is also on him as well. Mike Rossi saying that the coach gives you the whiteboard and says here the coach has lost the whole team. I mean, as a coach myself, actually, park hockey. Please, high school season starting up soon, but I have given my players the clipboard once because they want to, a couple times because they want to show you something that they think they can do. But yeah, it's not a good sign, and I guess the players just, they really have lost. He's lost the locker room, which is not a good thing to
yeah.
say. So,
GM too. I agree
hopefully,
with I agree with Mike Rossi that it's definitely
yeah,
it goes above the coach too. But unless ownership's going to fire the GM and the coach, which is usually an off-season thing, not so
yeah,
much first quarter of the season. But
and honestly, it's the same
that's
with
Seth
Dubas
Jones'
in
contract, man.
oh, it's bad.
We
Yeah,
hate everybody hated it from the onset, and it
yeah,
is paying off exactly how we thought it would.
yeah. I mean, I he had
And
such a
he's and
bad year. How
he's
can you?
and he's one of the
Well,
guys
that's
picked
what I
for
was going to
Team
show you.
USA, right? Like a guarantee
Yeah.
for Team USA.
Oh my God, that's just he's -9. He leads. He's tied
Although
for the league lead in negative.
Stan Bowman is the GM, right? So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's your
It's this
reason why.
guy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Seth Jones at -9. DeBrincat, also Chicago, -9. You have former Chicago Blackhawk Nick Schmaltz with Arizona at -9.
Oh,
A couple
Arizona.
names on here
Oof.
that I did. Yeah, a couple names on here I did not think would be this bad. Cale Makar is -8. He's
Mm-hmm.
tied for second.
It's like
That's real
Quinn
bad.
Hughes numbers from last year.
Yeah. Patty Kane, obviously
Approaching.
there. Sergachev, he had that really bad start. He's done a little
Mm-hmm.
better, but he's still -7.
I think it's
Vegas,
worse. I think it wasn't he -6. I think
I thought he was
last
8,
week at this time.
maybe.
I don't remember.
Two names I didn't see on here in Vegas: Jonathan Marchessault and Alex Pietrangelo, both -7.
Yeah,
Vegas
Petrangelo's
has
on my
not had a good
damn
start.
fantasy team.
um, you have
Not for long.
Giordano on here. You have William Karlsson, and last but not least, you have Jake Muzzin for Toronto. Toronto, and I was just about to say it, has been a dumpster fire as well. And Dubas in Toronto is also on borrowed time. All hell is breaking loose, and even the coach has had to address the dress code. Players showing up in like t-shirts and stuff, and he's had to
Yeah,
actually talk about it. I mean,
it's another meme going around.
yeah, it's bad. You look at all these teams, and it's just, how bad can some of these starts get before these GMs have to do something, and Dubas being one of them. I mean, you're going to see, your team, you know, 2-3-1, 6 games. Marner just looks out of it, and there's actually some talk on the podcast with Ellie Friedman about how he thinks that ever since and this is not the sole reason, but ever since that whole all in the Amazon series that Toronto's been doing, there was a couple of moments where Marner didn't have like the best look, and he wasn't put in the best light, and he thinks maybe that could even have some kind of a lasting effect on him. The kid's a hell of a player.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a slump, but yeah, they're not looking so good. Um, and is yeah, hey buddy, is that is Melvin, right?
Yep, sure is.
Yeah.
He's coming up. Don't worry.
Is there a moment when someone like Austin Matthews is like, I've had it, like get me out of here?
It's
Tavares can't do it because he just signed that
no.
monster contract, and he is the captain and all this stuff, and he wanted to go there. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna really risk upsetting a top 5 player in the league.
I don't know. It's really hard for me to try to understand players' mentalities in situations like this. But if you try to relate it to your own personal opinion, if you've ever been a part of either a job that obviously it's not hockey and it's not paying you like hockey, but a job that you're in a similar situation where you're just continuously, I guess, set up to fail.
Yep.
And it's like, what else can you do? And you get the frustration, whatever. And then you have to go. Well, I mean, different for a hockey player. You got to go in front of the media, put on a happy face, and be peppy cheerleader, captain material, saying how we're fine, we're happy with what we're doing, we're gonna get there, we got to fix some things. And in their head, they're like, this is such a crapshoot. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just that these players a lot, especially in a place like Toronto, where not only are the players on a short leash, but the coaches and the GMs are also on such a short leash. They're so highly scrutinized because of how long they have failed. So yeah, this Kyle Dubas project is failing, and it's blatantly obvious right now. I mean, their record isn't horrible, but this last loss to Pittsburgh, and coming from a Penguins fan, to essentially an AHL affiliate. And I was watching, I don't know if you've ever watched Steve Dangle. He
Yep.
does he's first time I ever
Yeah.
watched him. I'd never even heard of him. I'm not that involved with YouTubers or anything like that. But a friend of mine sent me this link about him, kind of his analysis of this past game, and talking about how Pittsburgh was basically missing a very good number one power play of Crosby, Malkin, Rust, Carter, and Letang.
Yeah.
were all gone. And to lose, not only to lose to a team that is basically an AHL affiliate at this point, to a team that is probably ranked somewhere around 30 out of 32 as far as prospects go, so not
Yep.
a great AHL affiliate. Not only to lose, but to lose so badly to them is either a wake up call for this team. I know they're playing tonight. I'm not sure how they're doing tonight. Uh, Sometimes some of these teams just need that to kind of turn around. Toronto will be okay. They're too talented to like miss the playoffs. They're not going to miss the playoffs. So they're going to be all right. Are they contenders like everybody wants to say they are every season? No, they're not, obviously, and we see this.
Nope.
So I think no, I don't unless they kind of go right off a cliff. Changes are going to happen in the offseason, probably not midseason with Dubas and whatever. But as a player, I have no idea how you can just kind of withstand this. I guess maybe they're hoping that everyone is fired up top so they can get like a fresh start of something else, or to have the attention deflected to somebody else. I don't know. I think right now, I mean, it seems like more people are pissed at Dubas than they are at any specific player. So even though a lot of players are underachieving, I think Matthews just scored his first goal, right? The other day or
Yeah, I think
today
so.
or something.
Yeah, Toronto's down 3-1 in the second intermission, according to Tom.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not good
Yikes.
in foggy Toronto town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Rossi also saying on Facebook Live that these players like Matthews, McDavid, Subban, etc., will suck when they say, and when they say when I'm done, their franchises, but to move them to another team will be hard because of the cap hit. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor McDavid's going to be really easy to move. Anyone will take him. Same thing with Matthews. Subban's a little different, but
Yeah. Subban hasn't produced in who knows how long.
Speaking of albatross, Evander Kane, the Sharks apparently don't have the option to terminate his contract. He has 3 more years after the season left on his deal at $7 million per. They wondered if there could be like a Mike Richards type settlement. If you remember Mike Richards a few years ago, LA terminated his contract and the NHLPA filed a grievance. There was a settlement where LA basically paid 60% of Richards' remaining contract over 17 years, and it included the cap hit. I guess an actual source said that this type of settlement may not work at this point just because so many teams were unhappy at the time when that happened. But they're looking for buyouts. They're looking for any option because the guys in that locker room hate him. Actually, I think Logan Couture even their Sharks actually doing really well. I want to say their record was, where's their record? Yeah, they're second in the division, 4-1-0. They were 4-0, and I think that he said something about the locker room. They've never been happier, and they're all buddy. They all want to win for each other, and you could just tell that he was not liked there very much, and it sucks because last year he was their best player. But yeah, kind of a good riddance thing, and no team's going to trade for this guy, especially with the baggage that he brings. And maybe they'll pay him pennies on the dollar if they can do a buyout, and someone will bring him for a PTO. But his days of getting big money are gone because he just he has alienated himself from so many different players and fans and teams.
Yeah, what a disaster. It's a shame. I mean, I don't have much more to say. I know we've been talking about him for a couple of weeks, and it's.
Yep.
I don't know. It's such a waste of talent.
Yeah, it sucks. Have you been watching ESPN and TNT, like the coverages? Not
really. And in fact, I've had such busy nights lately that I haven't had a chance to really sit down. Like right now, I'm watching. I think this might be the first time I've put a game on, and it might get through the whole of it. Of just put Tampa versus Buffalo on. I have not watched a single Penguins game. Haven't had the time. And scheduling is just like I'm just not home to watch these games.
Yeah.
So it stinks. I can't even break down stuff. I'm relying on highlights and box scores and stuff to try and figure out what's going on in the league at this point.
I was going to say that I think Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Chris Chelios could use some coaching to get all this overflowing amount of knowledge they know out of them on broadcast because it's real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they're just like stiff, and they know so much about the game, and they have so many great stories, I'm sure. And Paul Bissonnette, who was a laugher on the hockey rink, right? He was a goon that he even says he didn't have much talent. And he just went by punching faces, and he's so much
Yeah.
fun to watch on the TNT broadcast. Actually, him and Charles Barkley are awesome together. But you have a guy like Gretzky on there that you want to hear so much more from, and he doesn't seem to give it to you. So you should
Well, they
definitely
don't
take a
have
look at that.
they just don't have the personality for it. I mean,
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
be the best player to ever play and will ever play. But if he's got no personality for something like a broadcast, he's going to be as boring as any other robot schmo you put on there. It's unfortunate because I'm sure they do.
yeah,
I mean, who kn- I don't. I mean, I'm sure his brain is superhuman when it comes to hockey. But look, I
yeah.
mean, he wasn't a successful coach, so obviously,
Well, yeah, that's what.
his knowledge doesn't translate to that. So I guess it's not going to
Nope.
translate to analysis. I'm sure in his head he's probably breaking it down in a different way than it's coming out of his mouth.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the problem. But yeah, no, I have seen. I think it was either the opening game or something where and the timing, like Gretzky was still talking about this player while a goal was just scored, and it was just the whole timing of it was so awkward and weird and dumb, and he's monotone and
Well, they did.
yeah. I mean, I
I'll,
agree. It's nice to have him there, but he's got to be like every now and then bring him in for something. He can't be
yeah.
used for like a
On one of the broadcasts, they brought in Chuck Barkley, and they put him in goal, and they had Gretzky shoot 5 pucks at him, and Gretzky goes 5-hole. One of the times he shot over his glove. Actually, Barkley did make a save, but so he was 4 for 5. But the one he put right between the pegs, so I guess it kind of breezed the nether regions.
yeah.
Oh man, that was just great. He just all of a sudden
They
just
do
one
need.
up some
I mean,
slapper.
before this whole thing started, they're like the NHL needs to find personalities because the NBC broadcast was not even close. They had nobody. The whole part. I mean, people were even saying like, okay, you need somebody like Milbury because at least you had somebody who did something different, even though he was a complete idiot.
Yep.
And whatever else of his comments are stupid, and everything about his NHL career and resume is stupid. But I mean, at least he wasn't the same as everybody else there. But the funny thing is that they're like they need to bring in somebody like a personality like the NBA has with Charles Barkley. So it's like, why not just bring in Charles Barkley, right, and just bring
Yep.
him over to the NHL?
And he likes
But yeah,
hockey.
they need personalities like that. I'm glad they brought Bissonnette in like that as well. But yeah, they need guys that just aren't going to read off a script and just regurgitate the same crap that we hear from everybody else and
Yeah.
make the
And
game a little
Tom's
more
saying that.
exciting. At least make intermissions more exciting.
Yeah, Tom's saying that ESPN was already 100 times better than NBC, and I do agree. I mean, Liam McHugh, and there's just there could have been done
That's
so
not hard
much
to do.
better with that. Yeah.
NBC was
Um.
bad, real bad.
So yeah, no, real bad. Couple quick last things before we head out. I talked about Sam Bennett. Larry Brooks of the New York Post reports that the possibility of the Blackhawks and Rangers talking about Dylan Strome. Apparently, he was being scratched by the Blackhawks. I mean, I'm not a. I liked him a few years ago when he went off when he first made it to Chicago, but he's had a pretty bad run of things. But I don't know. Who knows? 2 Stromes on one team, is that good? One possible U.S. Olympic combination: the Kachuk brothers centering by Dylan Larkin. I actually kind of like that.
We talked about. I mean, yeah, that's fine. We talked about Larkin on our line. Who were his line mates? It was just this super inhuman fast line that Larkin was with. I have to look at my
We
notes,
talked
but now
about
I
Kyle
can't even
Connor.
remember like
It
what
was Kyle Connor and someone
maybe
else.
Kyle Connor, and it's just 3 really fast. I still like the
Yeah,
concept of that, whoever they were. I like that, but obviously
yeah.
you want Brady and Matthew there. I don't know about
Who
Larkin
would?
centering them. Why though?
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know.
why would he center them? Like, what's the
Who
perk?
would Dylan Larkin be your second center now?
I mean, he might. You really were hoping Eichel would be there, right?
I mean, could it be
Um,
Jack Hughes now? Especially if he goes off after coming off injury.
it could be if he comes back and
I
he
mean,
keeps doing what he's doing. I mean, I don't even know if I necessarily had Hughes making the Olympic team, to be honest with
no,
you,
I didn't. I didn't.
at the first go of it. But now that he's had a pretty effective season last year and a good start to this one, but obviously he's got to get healthy. Hopefully he's not out for the whole 2 months. Maybe it's 4-6 weeks, maybe closer to 4. That'd be even better to kind of showcase what he can bring to a U.S. team. That would be awesome if he can have a skill like that, and if he ends up being the guy that we know. I don't know if Devil fans want that, because if he gets a taste of playing with better players around the league, is
Yeah.
he going to want to leave the next time
Gonna
he's up
leave.
for a contract?
Oh man, that'd be good.
Kidding, Devil fans, but
Yeah.
kidding, not kidding. But yeah, no, he could. I mean, he could end up there because of this whole Jack Eichel thing.
Yeah, I mean, you'll most
Just
likely
add
see
another
Matthews
Jack.
playing with. You'll most likely see Matthews playing with Patty Kane, which will be good and fun to watch as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this about the Devils before. Someone who needs to step up for them is Nico Hischier. I know that he gets a lot of love from the Devils fans about being Patrice Bergeron 2.0, but you need more offense from this guy. He just, I think he's a poor man's Bergeron, but
well, you're hoping
think
you're hoping he turns out to be a player like Bergeron, but Bergeron
yeah,
is. I mean, you're seeing. I think Barkov is becoming a
that
better
guy.
player than Bergeron ever will be.
Yep.
And obviously, Hischier's never going to be a Barkov. I don't think he's ever going to be a Bergeron. I think you're hoping he'll be a poor man's Bergeron. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we need to see some more offense. I mean, it's one thing that you're out there and you're shutting down the top lines. That's great. I mean, teams need that. But at the same time, that's team's fourth line right there, right? The defensive-minded line right now is really a fourth line. So your third line right now, if you're going to be you're contending for a playoff spot, you need at least 3 lines producing consistently offensively. And if he's not, that's a problem.
Yep.
Unless you want him to be your fourth line center, and I don't think anybody wants that, and I don't think anybody thinks that he should be. But yeah, you need to see more. You definitely need to see more offense out of him.
I mean, if he turns into someone like Philip Deneau, that is not good. Talking about a guy that maybe 40 points and a very good defensive-minded center. That's not what the Devils need. Tom says Larkin, Hughes, and Keller could fly. I agree. That'd be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
I read somewhere that in 14 games, the last 14 games, obviously for Tyler Bertuzzi, he has 11 goals. And he's been playing lights out hockey. Obviously, he's the only player that's unvaccinated right now in the NHL. But pretty good for him. Ryan Ellis may have his best statistical season in his first season with the Flyers.
He probably won't be able to go to the Olympics. I don't know what the rules are now, but I'm sure he won't be eligible to go to the Olympics if he remains steadfast in his
I don't think
vaccine
he doesn't
opinion.
Make the team, does he? You think he makes that team, even if he was
vaccinated?
vaccinated?
I don't think so, but if he's doing this well,
if it was someone
he might
like
have a fighting
John
chance.
Tortorella
But obviously,
yes.
But I mean, you also he has no chance now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not gonna, I swear I had this somewhere. I don't know what I did with it.
You can find it. We'll talk about it later. But Oilers interested in Josh Manson. Obviously, they need a defensive defenseman. I like Josh Manson. Quickly, 3 stars. Well, we'll do injuries, and then we'll get out of here. Crosby closer to his return. Blackwood vaccinated but still out with an ankle injury, and then Klingberg is back. 3 stars of the week. Kyle Connor, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points in 3 games. He had a goal in 3 straight. He's tied for the NHL lead with McDavid, Kopitar, Bertuzzi, and Lindholm with 6 goals in 5 games total.
Brian Elliott being Brian Elliott right now.
Nice. Connor McDavid, 3 goals, 5 assists.
On the plane.
McDavid, 200th NHL goal against the Coyotes. In Edmonton history, only 3 have gotten to 200 goals faster than McDavid. His 411 games played, it was Gretzky at 242. Can you imagine that? Gretzky scored 200 goals in 242 games. Yari Curry at 328 and Glenn Anderson at 348. He owns the scoring lead with 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points in 5 games. Only Gretzky has recorded more points through his first 5 games. He had 2 seasons where he had 7 goals and 8 assists for 15 points, and he had 3 goals and 11 assists for 14 points. I mean, Connor McDavid is a beast. And he's been doing it against teams like Vegas. So Steve can't give him crap for that one.
Vegas stinks right now. I'm not trying to downplay his skill. I'm just saying.
I know. Lastly, Ilya Sorokin, 3-0-1 with a 9.99 goals against and 971 save percentage with 2 shutouts and 4 road games. He had back-to-back shutouts against the Yotes and Knights. He's the first goaltender in Islanders history to record shutouts on road on the road in consecutive days. So good job, Ilya Sorokin. Let's see. I'm gonna
Tom Petrillo.
play.
Good point. I was gonna bring that up, but I don't think we have time. That Crosby's injury has been from a Ryan Reeves hit in 2014. He's been dealing with like rehabbing this wrist for the last 6-7 years until finally this offseason the rehab didn't work, which is why he opted for surgery.
Gotcha. Imagine
Ryan Reeves,
if he had 100%. Right?
Now I guess they're closer.
Yeah. I might need Mr. Wu to come in here because I'm clicking AA to get the outro bumper going, and it's not going for me. So
who hired this guy?
Yeah, some schmuck.
Sam.
Yeah, this is
I'm just gonna like
upsetting.
Walk away and let you deal with the end.
Oh, there we go. All right. So my beer, I'll give a 4 to Cotton Candy.
Yeah. All right. I don't know that I had it. I checked. Mine's a 4. You can find this in stores too. Pick it up. Delicious. Nice. If you like sours, that is. And it's gone.
I didn't do that. I didn't do it. Schwim, take her home. Thanks, Schwim.
Schwim, you're the worst.
It's not me.